Hey, you're listening to Don't Lie to Your Life Coach podcast with Kim Arrington. I'm Kim Arrington. I'm a life coach, a weight loss coach, an author, and a badass passionate about helping you connect back to your most authentic self. Join me here each week so I can coach you on how to think all those juicy thoughts that get you feeling your absolute best and taking some big ass action. Coaching has changed my life, and it can change your life too. I'm here to give you real life solutions to create a life you'll love. Because the truth is, boo, you ain't just got problems, you got options. Hey, y'all. What's up? Y'all remember what's up? You remember those? Yeah. Hey, y'all. So glad to be here with you today. Got another podcast for you. This one is right on time, like all of them are. I am trying not to sweat myself out. It is, I don't know when you'll get this podcast, but it's January in Durham, North Carolina, and it is 71 degrees. And I refuse to turn on the AC. We'll see if that lasts. I did turn on my fan, my personal fan. I'm coming here today to talk to you about main character energy. Main character energy. You know, it's Oscar nomination time. We all know the categories of Best Actor, Actress, and Best Supporting Actor and Actress. But we get the difference, right? The supporting actor and actress isn't what the movie's about. They literally support the unfolding of the story of the main character. Hell, sometimes they don't even play a very big part. But the main character, that's what the film is all about. That's who we come to see. That's who we've come to see to transform and transcend all their limitations into personal power. We need to find that main character energy in our life. Now, a few podcasts ago, I'll make sure I link it. I can't remember which one. We talked about Miss Seeley. And y'all got to know The Color Purple is my absolute favorite movie. She's main character. Suge is fantastic, but we get to see Miss Seeley transform. Remember, she's got the pants shop now. Malin and Still Magnolias. That's probably the movie I've seen the second number of the most times. She transforms, right? She loses Sydney. I hope y'all have seen it. I don't want to be telling the story. She loses her daughter and she has to go on. We know the late, great Chad Boseman in Black Panther, Indiana Jones, James Bond. One of my all-time favorites, y'all know I love the 80s, is Matthew Broderick in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The point is, the main character is the big deal. And I got to ask you, where are you showing up as the main character in your life and not the supporting character? And are you giving the supporting characters way too much access to make you feel a certain kind of way? I just recorded a podcast. How do you want to feel? So I'll make sure that I link that. Any podcast that I list, I'll link it in the show notes. You can easily go and watch that, or you can listen to it. In your life, what can you do if you need a main character energy tune-up? Y'all know you take your car in, you know you're supposed to take it in before it starts messing up, right? You get the oil change. Sometimes they change the fluids, they replace belts and all that stuff. Well, sometimes your main character needs a tune-up too. This episode is for you if you feel like you're everybody's supporting actor or actress or person and not the star on the red carpet. This episode is for you if you don't know how to get back to being the star. We're not trying to be a shooting star. We might make a wish on one, okay? We don't want to be a damn shooting star. The shooting star falls out the sky. I don't really know if that's true. My science teacher is probably listening. And if you're a science teacher, you may be telling me something different. This episode is for you if you don't know what to do next to get that main character energy. And that main character energy is all about feeling like you get to make choices in your life. You're the most important person in your life. It's not saying there aren't other important people. It's your cup is overflowing, it's filled to the brim. And then you can give, you can show up because you don't feel like you're always running from things. And it's so funny because right now I'm running to get this podcast taken care of before my kid gets home from school. Note to self, don't record podcast on Fridays anymore. I have learned my lesson. I'm main character energy. Let me do it on a Thursday. Okay. Your truth always wants to be revealed. So if you're fretting about all the nouns in your life, the man, the woman, the person, or your partners, the kids, the parents, the friends, especially that friend, the job, that bullshit, this podcast is for you. It's time for you to have a main character energy turn up. Let me go ahead and give you some other podcasts while we're talking about it that will help you with this. Yum Sum episode that I did will help you with this. Yum Sum is all about what makes you special, what makes you unique. I also included questions for you to ask yourself. How do you delight in yourself is another podcast. Boundaries with your damn self, because for you to be the main character, you're going to have boundaries. You're going to have boundaries. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the hero's journey. All right, we got to talk about the hero's journey. And you're the hero. One of my quotes that one of my quotables is be your own damn hero. The hero's journey is a brilliant place to do that. So in the hero's journey, you leave the familiar of home. That is the you that doesn't quite feel right. You know you need to do something different. You ain't sure what to do yet, but you know that you've got to figure yourself out. In my course, Half-Life, I teach you how to let go of, I have this DCR method. It's a borrowed method. I just kind of put the shape around it, but I first heard it on a podcast from Danielle Leslie. And I'll link to her podcast on this, but it's like the discovered you is who you were told you are, but you think it's original. The created you, who you then based yourself off of that discovered you, what everybody told you you were, but you still think you're original, but the remembered you is actually you. And in midlife, that's when the shit comes up and it refuses to go back. Okay, it refuses to hide anymore. So in this hero's journey, you leave the familiar of who you say you are to try to discover who you are. It's your soul's yearning to be authentic, to repair what you thought was lost or broken. You are never lost and broken. You come up against some ridiculous odds often to remember who you really are. And finally, you return home with the gifts of the journey. That includes the struggle, what you went through that revealed you to you and the truth of who you really are. And it may not even be struggles, it could be beautiful things. I know my hero's journey has been around feeling lovable, feeling that I can be loved no matter what. And so some of the hero's journeys may be around getting over an abandonment wound, a trust wound, a neglect wound, a guilt wound. It may be being honest about your sexual identity. It may be that you decide to step out in a way that you hadn't, like by ending a relationship or ending, a job. You decide that you want to really be a teacher after you've been in corporate America. You see this in midlife, this happens. I always give this disclaimer. Before you go burning it all down, please go to the personal development school or at least find out about attachment style. What you might be burning down could be your reaction to past hurt that is being shown in a job, shown in a partner. And once you're able to learn about your attachment style, work to being earned secure, all of these things could change. The hero's journey is a perfect place to really start thinking about what is it that I want to do different? And this illness that's come up, this financial hardship that's come up, This rift in a relationship, what is it teaching me about myself? And how can I love myself through it? How can I be loved anyway? This is why having a coach or a therapist or any of the healing helpers, a 12-step program, a clergy-based intervention, books, podcast, you name it, all of them together, a program, a course. This is where you begin to answer those questions. You have to have tolerance. You have to have tolerance to be able to be the main character, to understand that every one of us is going to go through some shit. And on the other end of that shit is a you that is likely more authentic and also doesn't sweat small shit anymore. You don't sweat the small stuff anymore because you've been through enough to know what really matters. And that's the beauty of the hero's journey, because you return back home with the knowledge of who you really are. Let me help some more. When you're in main character energy, you are the center of your universe. Now, I didn't say there weren't other people who matter. Of course, we aren't here by ourselves. As a matter of fact, I repeat this stat. The Surgeon General talks about there's a loneliness epidemic, and that the equivalent of being isolated is the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, the mental health and health implications. You got to find community. But community can't matter more than you. I was just working with a client who's been talking about her relationship with her daughter, and I had to remind her. She formerly wanted the daughter to change to feel safety. And I reminded her the safety is being able to tolerate and love the daughter no matter what, and for her to claim her safety on her own. I reminded her that love is not about the person complying or doing what you want them to do, but loving them in spite and despite of what they're doing, and deciding how you want to interact, how you want to show up. But controlling someone never has to do with love. Control comes from heartbreak. You don't want to feel a certain way again, and you will do anything to not feel that way. That is not how we love. I think I need to do a future episode on what love isn't. It's understandable. If you're a parent, you want your child to be safe, but it's not. It's not. You controlling your child's identity actually pushes them further away. It doesn't bring them to you. So number two would be, you need to tell the story in a way that makes you the hero. Instead of you saying, "Oh, I'm terrible with money. I can't be trusted." It's part of the reason why I give you an affirmation at the end of these episodes. You tell yourself, actually, I'm learning about money. I'm getting better at money. I know there are times where my old ways could show back up, because that happens in the cycle of change. You have relapse and then you go back into the cycle. And every time you relapse, you get better and better at the skill or what's happening in your life. Relapse is a part of learning. Relapse means you're going to go back to your old self. To create a habit, you often go back to your whole old self. If you have to keep being perfect at it and it's not second nature, then it's not a habit. It's back to that control. And control is designed to crash and burn. It just is. It just is. So you've got to find a way to tell yourself that you are the hero, that even though this difficult thing has happened, even though you made some mistakes, that you can see your own ability to get back on track. I had a colleague I worked with, and Mr. Willie used to say a mid-course correction. He was in the Air Force. He said, if those planes can turn around in the middle of the air, then you can turn around and do something different. And that's been some wisdom I have lived by my whole life. Number three, make sure people are treating you like the main character. And how do you do that? I told you can't control people. Well, if you treat yourself like the main character, they really have no choice to treat you like the main character, because if they don't, you can put them on ice, you can back up some, and they'll come back. The one thing about humans is we learn by seeing. We learn by seeing it done. So if I'm treating myself well, that means other people got to treat me well too. And if they don't, I can leave them to their own thoughts and back the hell up. And when I back the hell up, then They understand what's happening. Now, I do have another, I done gave y'all 75 podcasts. I have another podcast that's like, maybe you should pull, maybe it's time to pull your energy back. I'm sure I'm messing that up, but it tells you exactly how to do number 3. Number 4, the bad shit always goes away. And at the very least, if it doesn't go away, it changes. And if it doesn't change, you begin to accept it. When I was diagnosed with fibroids, I was so pissed off. I have been relatively healthy. I don't take any kind of pharmaceutical, no type of pills. And I felt like, how could this happen? How could I have fibroids? Where a lot of people have fibroids. And honestly, I have the best case of fibroids possible. I had initial pain. It ended up going away. I don't have heavy bleeding. I know people who have had it terribly. And honestly, as you go through menopause, your fibroids shrink. So I had to accept that this was a thing that, what was I going to do about it? Like, I got the information, I went to the doctor, they gave me the options. I've been able to deal with it without medical intervention. And I don't know if the way that, I eat or my exercise or my stress level, I don't know if that impacts it, but I would say it impacts almost everything else. So why wouldn't it impact that? I do want to be sensitive to the women who have, fibroids, who they don't have it that way. And I'm sorry, but sometimes the things that are so difficult for us can transform. I had a friend who had a terrible time with fibroids. She did a medical intervention. She's so much better. You're here to have a blast. You're here to have fun. You're here to be joy. You're here to experience pleasure. You're here to not hate life. And if you do, get some help. Get some help. Hey, so every podcast is sponsored by Half-Life Weight Loss, my signature program for fabulous women just like you who want to lose weight the last time. Did y'all know only 5% of people keep their weight off? And you know why? Because they make how they keep it off too hard. I got you. Let's hear more about Half-Life. Hey girl, hey, my name is Coach Kim and I'm your last weight loss coach. More on that later. Yes, I've lost 65 pounds and I'm living my dream of lasting weight loss, plus so much more. And I'm here to spill some tea. What if I told you it only takes watching these 13 videos and doing your workbooks to finally have lasting weight loss? Like weight melting off like ice cream while you eat what you like weight loss? Like being able to go in any store and pick up a pair of jeans or that red dress in your size, like not having to lose weight for an event. You're going to the event and everybody is talking about you at the event and how good you look. Body confidence on 10, friend. And having the most fun you've had in years while saving money, time, and stress. Sign me up, coach. Put me in, coach. Half-Life Weight Loss is going to help you gain your whole self back. I got you. All right. Can't wait to see you on the inside. All right, you're back. If you'd like to hear more about Half-Life, please go to www.kimarrington.com/free weight class, and you will get more information about Half-Life. So back to what we were talking about. Number 6, how do you delight in yourself? Did a whole podcast about it. It's linked in the show notes. What is it about you that you love? How are you amazing? Like, what is it that makes you uniquely you? How do other people delight in you? Which then leads to number 7. Do you know your Yum Sum? Like, it's kind of the same. Like, what is it about you that makes you incredible, unique, rare? Do you need to have adventures? I need to have adventures. I need to travel. I'm curious. I need to see some shit. And I know that about myself. Like, and so if I stop doing that, it affects me. Your Yum Sum is good. We're going to talk all about that in the podcast episode that I link. Check it out. I talked about community. Community is so important. Number 8, be around people that reflect your main character energy back to you. who tell you how dope you are, who tell you you're amazing. Yeah, sometimes they pull your card and tell you like you need to chill, you need to relax. That's okay. I don't think you should be around people who only see how great you are. Sometimes they'll be like, hey, stuff will come up. But like someone who's in their main character energy, who you get to see how dope they are too, and they reflect that back to you. That's important. That's why a lot of people, if you're feeling kind of shitty about your career, you may need to go to a conference. You may need to be with more colleagues who are excited. You may need to find places to have the energy reflected back to you. And that is a job that you sometimes have to do on your own. But hey, there are executive coaches. Every time I coach a client, career comes up because it's such a huge part of our lives. So allow yourself to receive number 9. If you need help, ask for it. You don't have to do these things on your own. As a matter of fact, someone who's more neutral in your situation can help you identify how. That's what I do with all my clients. How do we get back to your main character energy? I will give you a perfect example. I had a client who was a former teacher. He was over it. And he had a place that he wanted to move. He's now moved there. And not only has he moved there, but he is now traveling all over the world with a job that he loves. He is 100% in his main character energy. So, friends, you are able to change. You are able to be whatever your favorite self is. I ain't saying your best self, your favorite self. You are able to allow yourself to matter. You are able to get the help or become the person you want to be. So, I close every podcast with an affirmation. And this week's affirmation is I choose to see myself as the hero of my life. I choose to see myself as the hero of my life. I get to see myself as the hero of my life. I choose to see myself as the hero of my life. I choose to see my best parts. I choose to see what makes me great. I choose to not just think about how I always have to work to change this or to do this. I get to see how amazing I am in every moment of every day. All right, y'all. Hey, tell somebody about the podcast. Go listen to another episode, subscribe on YouTube or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and come back here next week. Love ya, mean it. Have a good day. Are you feeling what you just heard? Good. Repeat after me. You don't have to figure it out on your own again anymore. I'm here to help. Head over to KimArrington.com and download my free video series dedicated to getting you feeling your best right now. Look around, there's some good stuff waiting on you. Got questions? Well, we're always talking on the socials, so find me on YouTube, Insta, and the book. Don't be shy, y'all. Go listen to another episode or join me here the same time next week. Finally, don't keep good shit to yourself. Share this with a homie that could use some help too. Remember, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not lying to our doctors. And you damn sure don't lie to your life coach.